anything relating to his health or medical status?
I'm going to be brief and straightforward. As you said, I should avoid answering the question directly. Look, according to this, you don't go straight up to treating a patient without asking any sort of medical history that's there. So what I did is we need to check the medical history of the individual before touching or even doing anything with them. We need to know whether they are sick with certain things. That's standard protocol in even any medical profession. Whether you are a dentist, whether you are an optometrist, you need to check that. So I did that. It's on record whereby I marked it and then the patient also signed. So from my recollection, I did that.
Ubongani Ntanzi uthi ke wena ke wambheka ke noma wamhlola ke umlomo kuphela awukazi umbuze ngesimo sakhe ke sokuthi ukanjani ke ngempilo lana kuthina ke awukwazi ke ukuthi ke noma uyiphi ke inhlobo kadokotela ukuthi ungavele uqonde nje odabeni nomuntu kufanele wazi ngomlando wakhe ke ukuthi ke ukanjani ke impilo yakhe akukho yini okumhluphayo ngenza lokho ke nami yilona le form leli eliphambi kwami.
Okay, regarding the HIV status, did you warn him that is not obliged to divulge his medical?
As I stated when I was stating here that we ask the patient that do they know their HIV status? And they said they are not aware, they don't know whether they are positive or negative. That's what we ask. We don't say whether the patient has the right. The question is, we don't say, are you HIV positive or are you HIV negative? We say, do you know? And if the patient decides to say, yes, I know, and then that's when we proceed to saying, or then would you like to disclose? But if the patient just said they don't know, we're not gonna say what really happened. The further on, the things that we ask further on, it's, have you ever been tested? And then when the patient starts to say, no, I've never been tested, we leave it at that.
Mayelana ke nombuzo lona ke ophathelene nayo ke ingculaza ukuthi ke ingabe wami exwayisa yini ukuthi ke akaphoqelekile ukuthi aphendule. Lana ke wathi uma ngimbuza impendulo yakhe yathi cha angazi. Uma ethi ke angazi akukho okunye osungaphinda ukubuza. Kodwa ke uma impendulo yakhe kwakuwukuthi yebo ngiyazi, kula usewumxwayisa khona ke manje ukuthi noma usho kuyena ke ukuthi ungathanda yini ukudalula ukuthi ke sithinike. Kodwa uma ethe nje cha akazi awukwazi ukuthi ungaqhubeka ngayo.
All right. Did you check him? Did you check COVID on him?
During the time they
Yes.
passed through the screening
Did
process.
you
They-
check COVID?
Listen, they pass through screening. As I've already mentioned, that the patients before they get to us, they go through number of exams. It was COVID times. They go through the reception, they see the nurses, they do the blood pressure, and then they also do COVID screening. And they do that at a separate location. When they come to us, it's a patient that's clear of the screen of COVID, and also with the HIV screen, they also do the same thing. They ask them if they want to test, they end up testing them. So those things, screenings are done by the nurses, which we say is the vital group that does that. So they screen them for that. So there is no patient who will pass the vital group, come to us with signs of COVID. So there are people who were at the time by the government appointed to screen any patient that comes through there for COVID before they even get to us. My point is the patient passed through a number of people before getting to me.
Ingabe ambheka yini ke umscreenala yona ke iCovid uthi lokho kwenziwa ke uma bengena ke lapha yana ke akangeke ezofika kumina ke kungekabhekwa konke lokho baningi abantu abadlula kubona ke lapha yana la kwenziwa iscreen khona kubhekelwa yona ke iCovid ngoba ngaleso sikhathi vele ke kwakuyisikhathi seCovid nayo ke iHIV nayo ke uyabuzwa lapha yana uma kukuthi umuntu unquma ukuthi ke atestwe ke nalapho kwenziwa khona lapho.
So was this form completed by yourself or by the nurse? The one that you were reading.
The form has
Yes.
two handwritings.
Yes.
The first one on top, if you notice where there's written vitals, that's not my handwriting. You see, and you give any expert, handwriting expert, they'll tell you there are two people who are writing here. The protocol is names, surnames, and including patients' contact details. They are done by the nurses there. And then the rest of the questionnaire, which is the questionnaire, the exam, the other part whereby we do the extra exams, it's done by us. So every detail that requires the patient's personal details and also the vitals, which I've already pointed out, if you can look at the form, that whether it's written BP inside here and also the time, it doesn't correlate with the other handwriting, which is mine. So meaning that this patient was seen and also the form was filled by the nurses. That's the protocol. They fill up the personal details. When they get to us, we only do the medical side.
Lana ngubheka ke kule form lena ke ukuthi ke ama handwriting ahlukileke lapha eqaleni lapha yana kubhala imininingwane yakhe, igama, iminyaka, kunama number, kunekhili, lokho ke kwagqaliswa amanesi lapho aqala khona. Ukuhla ke enzansi la kubuza khona ke imibuzo noqhubeka ke neform I handwriting yami.
And it is, tell me, in terms of that form, where it is indicated that the results after you check the COVID were positive or negative.
I'm going back.
Sorry?
I'm going back to what I said initially. It's a dental form.
Yes.
When a patient comes to the healthcare center, there is a file that's in brown and it has lines, it has different disciplines inside. The form that now I'm given here is for what I did. I did go through the rest of the form, and then the rest of the form is, when you go through them, you check whether the patient was screened for COVID or not, and then you send them back if they were not. We do receive it as a hard copy. Once we are done, we remove our part from the dental part. We store this part inside there. And most of the time when we store it, it's stored inside a system whereby it even has a correlating number with the actual document that's being kept by the medical side. This is done in order to avoid any complications between the dental side and the other side, because the patient might come back a week later with an appointment to us. We avoid the patient waiting in line again, trying to relocate file. Instead, the patient goes straight to us, and then we retrieve this file.
Ingabe lana kule form kukhona la yini khona ke kushoyo ukuthi wabhekwa ke ebhekelwa yona ke iCovid. Ngizobuyela kamuva ke noma ngibuyele emuva ke la engishilo ke khona ukuthi ke kune file sithola ke ifile kuleyo file leyo ke kuneyinhlaka ezahlukeneke la echazwa khona ke ukuthi lokhu ubhekelwe nalokhu ubhekelwe bese thina ke kulena kuleyo file le uma seniqedile ngikhiphe eyethu ifile noma lena iform lena ngisibeke ecaleni la igcinwa khona ke kwenzela ukuthi ke uma ngenzeke kule ipatient ibuye futhi ke kungabi ke nokunqobuzana ke la khona ke ezophinda futhi ayoma ke emgqeni kodwa ke lo muntu ebekade ekhona la.
The fact that I put it to you that you acted beyond the scope of the instruction, I'll just leave it for argument. But I'm just concerned about where you indicated that accused number 2 said he had a heart problem in 2014. It was an incident from the mine. And you further said that he did not take any medication in relation to that. When you were told, you said you were told by accused number 2 that he had a heart problem. Is that what you say? Were you told by accused number 2?
And then I'm going back to the form that I have. If you look at the form, the things that you're asking me, they're basically almost answered here. The health questionnaire asks if the patient had any sort of heart conditions or there are any sort of medication.
Yes.
So I need to ask those things. It's not beyond scope. It's beyond what the form
The question is,
saying.
were you told by accused number 2?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I want.
Yebo ngatshela uye ke ukuthi wayenenkinga ke enhliziyo ekwenzeka ke emayini ngo2014.
My instruction is that accused number 2, where he was working, he's working underground. And no one can work underground. You can comment, you cannot comment, but this is what I'm putting to you as the instruction of accused number 2, is that if you have sicknesses or chronic illnesses, you cannot work because it's too hot underneath. Any person with medical defects cannot work there. So he denies having informed you that he had the medical.
Can I add? In regards to what you're saying, it's true. There's no denying in that. But also there is also a fact that most of the people that work underground, the studies that's been there, and also if you look up through the internet, you'll find it. Most people that work underground, most of them, they are always checked through for if they have any sort of defect or whatsoever. But did you realize that there's a fact that if a patient has a high blood pressure, what the mines people do is they send the patient to a doctor so that they can have that rectified and managed before they go back underground. It depends on the severity of the situation. So in the terms of, that's now what I was informed, and that's what it came from him. That's what he said. So meaning that yes, he could have had a mining incident. We don't know whether it's minor, whether it's major, and then after a while, and then the patient was fine, and then they went back. So those things are the things that any logistics from the mine that we know, because when I was working that side, we used to have clients that they would basically almost, when I interacting with my colleagues, that they would come, they need to be checked, they need a medical certificate to show that whatever they had, it's not serious, they can go back underground and then work.
Yes.
Wazi-ke ukuthi kwizimo-ke ekusetshenzwa ngaphansi kwazo emayini ukuthi-ke kuyashisa laphayana, angeke umuntu asebenzeke enesimo esenhliziyo. Kungayiqiniso-ke lokhu okushoyo, kodwa-ke kuyenzeka-ke futhi amahlandla amaningi futhi-ke lokhu-ke sekuboniwe-ke noma ama-study akhona-ke ashoyo ukuthi abantu bayasebenza khona laphayana ezansi, kuya ngokuthi isimo siyalawuleka noma-ke sikanjani-ke. Abanye bayeza bazobona odokotela, umuntu azothi-ke ngicela nje incwadi-ke yokuthi nje babone ukuthi lapha manje isimo sami-ke sesiyalawuleka-ke, ngingabuyela ngaphansi. So kuya ngokuthi isimo leso sikanjani.
Yes. Let's get into the point where you say, when my colleague was asking you about assault or if somebody alleges that he was choked. According to you, are you in a better position to see if somebody has been subjected or he was choked? Because I don't want to, sorry, let me just clarify this one. Unless the instruction is that the accused was not strangled. I want to make a distinction between the two. He was not strangled. According to his version, a plastic bag was put over his head when he was choked. A plastic bag was used. Will you able to see if a patient come to you that this person was choked?
In a normal state, any patient that was choken with a plastic bag, unless if the only person that can be able to say the patient was choking in a plastic bag, in medical terms, from what I know, the only evidence that can show that a person was choked in a plastic bag and then actually there is a sign is if a patient succumb to whatever the plastic bag was. If they was choked and they end up passing away, that's when only the autopsy from whoever's doing that, they'll be able to identify that. A choking of a plastic bag over the face, yes, ligature marks, if it was pulled hard here, there will be lines. Any plastic bag, if anyone, even right now, you take a bandage and you wrap it around your hand and you pull it quite very strong, it will leave a mark.
Uma-ke ukuthi-ke wafakwa-ke uplastic-ke, lokho-ke la ekungathola noma kubonwe khona-ke ukuthi-ke mase sithi-ke umuntu-ke mhlampe usuyashona-ke ngenxa yalokho, uma sekwenziwa yona-ke i-postmortem kuzobonakala. Kodwa-ke uma kuwukuthi yona-ke leyo plastic iboshiwe-ke khona lana-ke yasiyaqiniswa-ke kunama-mark ezowashiya. Ngisho nawe-ke uma ungathatha ibandage khona manje uyibophe khona la kuwena-ke kuzobonakala noma-ke khona lokho okuzosala.
Before you continue, let me add, in that term, means that even if there was a mark by a plastic bag, after 3 days later, when the patient came to me, that mark would have eventually been faded or have actually disappeared, because of the fact that these marks that we were talking about, they are not severe marks that could last for long. Plastic bag doesn't have enough power compared to a rope.
Futhi ke asithi ke manje lo muntu uziveke useze emuva kwamalanga amathathu ke lawo ma marks lawo ke kusengenzeka ke ukuthi ke ase enganyamalala ke ngoba ke iplastic yona ke ayifani ke ama mark ayo ngeke ahlale ke ngokufana nayo ke intambo.
Yeah. All right. No, that one is not his field. I'm sorry. All right. Before I just want to be straightforward. When you first saw accused number 2, Bongan Dance, he had no visible injuries. Did you see any visible injuries?
From my point of view,
Umbona kwami ke mina ke akukho kulimala okwakubonakala loba okwakucaceleke engakubona kuyena.
And you did not ask him to take out his clothes?
no, I never did that.
Angizange ngimcele nokuthi ke akhumuleke owayegqokile.
And tell me the time in which they arrived. And what was the time accused number 2 was brought to you? What exactly time was it?
It was right precisely towards lunch. I think I remember it was towards maybe 1 o'clock. I think it was around 12.
Ngizothi ke ngaboma 12 ke kodwa nje ngaphambi kokuthi ke kushaye ihora ke lokuthi ke kube isidlo ke sasemini.
So that's when
Ufika
you commenced your examination. 12 towards 1 o'clock.
Leso sikhathi ke ngaqala ngaso ke ukuthi ke ngimhloleke ngimbheke.
In that documentation, it reflects 12:56. Is it the correct?
12:52.
12:52. Beg your pardon. So, what was the time you concluded your examination?
I would say maybe it's roughly maybe 30 or 45 minutes later, because I remember it extended to lunch, then we went to lunch.
Ngizothi ke kwathatha ke isikhathi ngama 30 minutes kuya ku 40 minutes ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi ke kwathi ngidlulela isikhathi sethu ke se lunch sase sithatha ke lunch.
Could it be 1:30?
I wouldn't be precisely sure.
No, could it be plus or minus, or approximately?
Approximately, maybe.
Ngasho ke ukuthi labo kuma 1:30.
The last question is, let me just confirm if. Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. You said you graduated in 2019, if I heard you correctly.
Yebo, ifundo zami ngayiphothula ngo-2019.
So you conducted a community service.
Yes.
You started from 2020.
Umsebenzi wami ke usebenza emphakathini wona ngawuqala ngo-2020 lokho besithe yi-concept.
Prior to the examination of accused number 2, you had 6 months doing a community service.
Yes.
Ngaphambi kokuthi ngisebenze ngaye ke noma ngihlangane naye ke umangalelo wesibili ke nganginesikhathi singange 6 months ngiwenza umsebenzi.
Were you working under supervision?
During my concept.
Yes.
Once immediately we work under supervision within the 3 years of our studies, but once you actually take oath, you are considered to be independent to work in a format whereby you work alone, but you have a superior supervisor that only in instances whereby there are complications that you also don't understand, you refer to them, complications.
Uma sesiqala nje kuminyaka yethu yokuqala ke emithathu masiqala yila usebenza khona ke ubhekiwe noma ke kukhona ke umuntu okubhekile ke noma lokhu kuthoke i-supervisor ke kodwa ke uma usuqala ukuthatha isifungo noma usufunga ke yila ubonwa khona ke nanje komuntu oyimele kodwa ukhona ke ongaphezulu kwena ke uma kuukuthi kukhona ke okukudidayo bese kudlulisela kuloyo.
So you took an oath after 6 months?
No.
After you examined?
No.
Or before?
Take it before.
Sorry.
When you actually there are 2 different oaths that you take. You take an oath before you even start seeing patients when you're still in school, and there's another oath that you're taking to show that you are suitable and you have graduated and you have passed all the standard that the degree requires, and you are able to be on your own and you can supervise the person. Meaning, within a year, I can be able to even supervise a person who's like a year behind me.
Okwenzekayo ke lana ukuthi ke uma usufunga kufunga kabili ke khona la ufunga khona ke ngaphambilini uma kusesesikoleni ke ngaphambilini kokuthi ke ubheke ama patients bese kuthi emuva kwalokho ke yila ufunga khona ke ukuthi manje konke lokho izifundo lezi noma i-degree ekudingayo noma ekufunayo usundlulile kuona waphasa ke futhi ngiyakwazi ke ukuthi ke emuva konyaka nami ke sengingathi ke ngibhekeke noma ngisupervise ke omunye ongemuva kwami ngonyaka.
Have you encountered a situation where the police officers, you testify about prisoners that are brought to you, and you said in 2020 in June, have you encountered a situation where the police will confront you with the request of conducting a dental?
Remember in our year of studies, we are in Medunsa. Medunsa is one of the biggest oral health centers in Pretoria. So we used to always, there was a module that whereby anyone is supposed to at least have treated people that are from public, whether it's from prison and whatsoever. So we used to get maybe in a regular base, you used to see maybe I would say 2 or 3 prisoners maybe in a month. So they used to always come, and when they come, the protocol is they come to you and then they explain what the patient is complaining about, and then you continue communicating with the patient regarding that. So yes, I have in more than one occasion.
Ngihlangeneke ngaphambilini ke namaphoyisa ke noma ngikhulumisana namaphoyisa uzokhumbula ukuthi besifunda khona eMedunsa yona ke enkulu khona ke ePretoria kuba khona ke imodule noma izifundo ke la khona ke kufanele uhlangane nabantu bangaphandle kulabo bantu ke bekuza futhi ke iziboshwa lezo ke bese ilethwa amaphoyisa likutshela iphoyisa ukuthi ke yini ke isiboshwa esikhala ngayo bese ke ukhulumisana nesiboshwa emuva kwalokho.
I put it to you now before I rest. I put it to you that on the day you conducted a general examination from accused number 2, you infringed upon his right to privacy, especially you breached the confidentiality of accused number 2 in relation to his medical status. What is the comment on that?
Now my question is, in which format, how did I do that? If this is, I'm saying if this is a form that's created by the state, which is the one that also everyone serves here, that we're supposed to question an individual who's coming to us and ask these questions, and we decide to ask them the way in which the form is decided, I'm basically saying it was me doing my job.
Uma uthi ke angizange kwenze kahle ke umsebenzi wami ke nokuthi futhi ke amalungelo akhe ke umsola ke noma umangalo lesibili ke ngazange ke ngenze ngokwendlela ngokuphathelene nawo ke usho kanjani ke ngoba konke ngakwenza ngokwalendlela ke ekubhalwe ngayo kuyona le form imibuzo engibuza yona imibuzo ekhona la ngenza umsebenzi wami.
Last question. You were asked by my colleague as to when you're conducting that examination, you said accused number 2, Pungantanzi, looked worried. What do you mean by that?
Worried meaning, or the patient, the facial expression, the way in which they were, he looked kind of concerned. I wouldn't say maybe it's they are stressed or whatsoever, but they looked confused. Worried meaning they look confused. They looked like, I don't know whether they don't understand the setting or what was happening, but that's a normal perception of any dental patient that's there. I will tell you, any adult will tell you here that the moment they enter any dental practitioner's office, they start wondering what's going to happen next.
Lana engangikusho ke ukuthi ke manje ngikhulume ngegama ke worried ngaphambilini ukuthi ke bayibukeka ke edidekile ke ungathi ke akazi ke ukuthi ke kwenzekani ke lana ungabuza noma umuphi ke kulaba abahlezi lana ke ukuthi ke noma umuphi ke umuntu omdala uma engena ke la ukuzothi kusetshenzwe khona noma ke akhishwe izinyo noma kwenzeke nike ila aqala khona ke ukuthi manje sengasazi ke ukuthi yini ezokwenzeka manje.
Say on the form where it says complaint, main complaint, you see there. So it appears that it's written the patient requested. Can you read that for me, please?
It says the patient requested an examination for oral cavity.
What do you mean by that if you were approached by the police?
It means that I was informed what the patient is requiring to be done to them.
Lana ke engikufundayo ukuthi ke i-patient yase icela ke ukuthi ke kubhekwe namahlolo ke la kuyena ke emlonyeni kusho ukuthi ke ilokhu engakutshelwa ukuthi yini leyo muntu ayizele.
So that is hearsay. You were not directly informed by accused number 2. You were informed.
I'm going to go back to protocol. We, as medical professions, is every single time whenever a prisoner, it's not the same as a normal individual. We are supposed to be protected by the people that come with the prisoner. So our interaction before we even go to the patient, with the patient being there, the policeman or the wardener must be able to explain to us what we're supposed to do towards the patient, because that's for our safety. That's one of the things that's supposed to have been done there. Because if the prisoner comes in, the policeman goes outside, and then I engage with the patient there, we're not really sure what I'm actually the patient is there for. So we need briefing from the person who's bringing them. It's as if to us it's as if it's a guardian. The patient who's bringing them, why are the patient there in the first place? So that's why we're saying the main complaint is that.
Lana ke masikhuluma ngesiboshwa ke okuzothi ke ukhona ke umehluko phakathi ke nomuntu ke oyibuyela nje emphakathini ke noma oyibuyela ekhaya oyihambelayo, ngoba lana ke kufanele siholwe yilo noma yila isiboshwa ayisihamba nabo beyibona ke abasichazelayo ukuthi uze ngani lo muntu lana ngaphambilini kokuthi singapho noma ukuthi iphoyisa liphume ubusushiya uyasala ke nesiboshwa sona kube uyisona esikutshelayo uqala kulabo abahamba naye.
All right, there's one thing that I wanted to clarify before I step down. When accused number 2 was brought to you, was he brought to you by the members of the correctional services or by the police wearing civilian clothes?
There were my recollection of the people at that day. There were men that were in uniform, brown uniform, of which from ever since we've been seeing prisoners, we know they come with that. They come with the prison orders, which identifies that. And there was another one who was not dressed in a brown uniform. So maybe I assume that could be the police corps in that state.
Ma ke efika ke wayihamba ke nalabo kuzothi basebenza ke ejele babegqoke ke uniform ebrown bese kuba namunye ke noma abanye ke babengaqhokile iuniform bona engayicabangela ukuthi ngaba amaphoyisa noma iphoyisa.
According to his version, those people were not from correctional services. They were Metro Police officers from SWAT. Just to put it clear that accused number 2 was not brought from prison, but from police station.
So, but not from my recollection, I remember someone dressed in brown. I don't know what was really happening in that point of view, whether it's correctional service. That's what I'm saying. From my knowledge, people dressed in brown are people from correctional services.
Angazi ukuthi ke babebuya ke kuma Metro Police mina ke ngazi ngabona nje abantu ababegqoke ubrown ngoba ke mina ngokwazi kwami ke uma begqoke ubrown ilabo abasebenzela correctional service.
Thank you, my lord. I have no further questions.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
I've got 1 question, 2 questions.
4.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Hlokwe. When you were still a student at Medical University of South Africa, was Professor Mokgokong still a Vice Chancellor and Rector there?
No. At the time, there was a time whereby he had to resign. In the middle, at the beginning, yes, he was.
Yes.
In the middle, he had to resign. And then from there was De Beer, who came in.
No,
and
don't
became-
worry about his successors. I just wanted to know whether at the time at which you studied there was he still a professor, as you just
Okay.
said, no?
wayengasiyena-ke uprofessor uMogokonga kathi-ke noma
He
ke
was
uqale
for
waye
the
uyena,
first, I
kodwa
think,
wabeka
first year.
phansi.
Oh, okay, in your fledgling stages of your studies. Thank you. Comprehensive medical assessment. You still remember that word?
Yes.
Where did it come from?
It means a full.
No, I don't want you to give me a description or a definition of that word.
Oh,
Where
it means
did
a
that come from?
comprehensive,
Yes.
a fully clouded, a fully well done examination of an individual, given what you have in hand.
Uma-ke kube ubhekwa lokho-ke onakho-ke noma obhekene nako phambi kwakho-ke uma kuthethwa-ke ngayo-ke i-comprehensive examination kusho ukuthi-ke wenze konke noma wabheka konke.
Thank you, Doc. Listen carefully. I'm asking you, in the course of your testimony, where did that word come from? Comprehensive medical assessment. If you so remember. Let me assist you. When the state was just about to close leading you, his examination in chief, he asked you whether, in terms of what you did, there was a comprehensive medical assessment, and then you said yes. So you remember?
That's not what, that was not a question.
Yeah, I can tell you what the question was.
There's a reception where they do a preliminary assessment.
Community service, is it?
And he also does an examination.
Is that you're talking about, Mr. Munisi, community service?
No, my lord.
Oh, okay, fine.
As I understood the state, I think that was the anti-penultimate question
Okay.
to the witness, where he says, would you then regard what you did, I'm just paraphrasing the
Okay, yeah,
state,
fine.
would you regard what you did as a comprehensive medical assessment? And the doctor said yes. Probably the record can clarify that.
That's not what the witness said. The state asked him, he said there's a station at reception where they do a preliminary examination, and then the patient then comes to him, and the state then asks him, in light of the fact that was this preliminary examination, and he also did an examination, so it was a comprehensive examination. That was the question and answer.
My lord, I don't want to be unfair with the witness here. Otherwise, I'll be deviating from the oath that I take, that as I embark on this profession, I'll be here to assist the court at all costs. I am not so sure whether the court will be amenable to allow us the opportunity to go to the record. I mean, to listen to the tape recordings, just to clarify this issue, or just to put this issue at rest. Because I don't want to be unfair to this witness.
Counsel put his question to the witness can comment.
My lord, the state is in no way authorized to tell me how to conduct my cross-examination. Now he's objecting that what I'm putting to this witness is not what he said to this witness, and I heard him well. Now I say, let's go to the record, or to the transcript, or to the audio recording, then you say I should continue putting my questions. What kind of a process is that? What kind of a procedure is this? Because by the very fact that he's objected to what I've said, he's basically insinuating that what I've put to this witness is not what he said. And I maintain that that is exactly what he said. Now he says, let me continue with my question. And I'm saying to the court, out of respect for this witness, I don't want to proceed with a question that I'm putting to this witness that is disputed. Let us put this aspect of whether or not the state put to this witness that, would you then therefore say that based on what you did, that was a comprehensive medical assessment? That is just to paraphrase him. That should be beyond doubt before I proceed with this question.
Let me tell you, from what I was asked, I don't remember
Yes.
and I don't recall when it says comprehensive. Remember comprehensive, you're gonna listen to me. Remember comprehensive, it's an examination that was done on an individual.
Understand me, sir. Understand me. Understand me.
Sorry, Mr. Minister.
This word did not come from you. It came to the state, and then you concurred with the state that you did a comprehensive medical examination on the patient that you saw on that day. Now the state, as I'm repeating that question, then the state is saying, no, that is not what the state put to you. We are not part of the dispute. Let me assure you, we are not. You are not part of the list, the dispute. You see, the dispute is about me having understood the state
Sorry,
in a
Mr.
different
Minister,
way
let's-
than you paraphrased than you said the question. Yes, my lord.
Let's try and resolve this.
Yes.
Doctor, do you recall being asked the question as was relayed
What-
to you by...
What I recall,
Yeah,
I recall being asked
yeah.
if what, not from my mindset, if what I have said here or what I have written here, it's an honest and straightforward assessment of an individual. That's what I remember.
Engikhumbulayo ke mina ngikubuzwa ke lana ukuthi ke kuyiqiniso yini lokhu ukuthi ke i-assessment noma ke ukubheka ke noma ke ukuhlola ke umuntu engakwenza ngokukhumbula kwami. Ikona lokho engikhumbula ngibuzwa umbuso.
May we go to the record, madam?
Yeah.
To the audio. As it is a record.
Okay, can you trace the audio for us? When did
It was just what I think it was his anti-penultimate question. Last but two questions before we close this cross-examination. I mean his evidence in chief.
Persistence is more towards the end, my
Yes.
lord, where
Before the
I asked-
cross-examination,
yes, or free examination, where I asked the witness, in light of the fact that the patient first had his vital signs taken at the reception, and he also did the examination, so it was a comprehensive. I'm the one who used the word.
okay. Can you find that, sir? You have what? I can't hear. Oh, the volume is low. Is that the place?
But maybe it should be go closer to the.
Yuna ke singabugcina ekufanele siqiniseke lokho ekuyikona.
What's the score, Mr. Minister? 2-0. I say the score is 2-0.
It's not too nearly, my lord.
It's
Actually,
what?
10 not.
3-0.
10.
And you win.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Did you hear the translation? I mean the recording.
I could hear that, my lord, and I know exactly what I said.
Okay, fine. Continue, Mr.
As it is a court. Now, that which you are referring to as a comprehensive medical report is what is contained in this medical form here.
That's
My lord,
a
that is not correct. That is not what I put to the witness who spent the whole afternoon until the cows come home. Let me once again try to clarify this. The witness said before the patient comes to him, he goes to reception, they take the vitals.
Objection, my lord. Objection. He who testifies and needs to give answers to the question is the witness.
Yes, I'm raising objection, my lord. The witness mentioned that they also check for signs of trauma, and thereafter the patient then comes to him, and he does his examination. So the question was, in light of the fact that the patient first goes to reception, they take the vital signs, they check for trauma, then the patient comes to him. It's an inclusive examination. That is what was put to the witness.
Okay, I will check this later. But Mr. Nisi, you can cross-examine this witness on the basis of what you say you heard.
As it is the court.
Okay.
So, that which you are referring back to my question, that which you are referring to as a comprehensive medical report is in essence what is contained in the form that you took this court through.
Let me answer you quite very correctly and clear before you go and twist my
Yes
words
or
again.
no?
Listen, this is a comprehensive dental examination.
Good. This is a comprehensive dental.
It's even written on the top
I
that this
can
is
see.
a dental services, and it starts
Good.
there.
Don't-
Meaning that any dentist in any practice, in any government institution,
Yes.
they should have the standards of these things. These are the things that we are taught in
Yes.
order to go through for the patient.
Thank you.
And every line that everything I have said, I was going through all the lines that were here. I didn't drag something from somewhere and then bring it inside.
Thank you.
Lana mangikhuluma ke ngokuphelele noma ngokugcwele ngikhuluma ngakho lokho okuphathelene nosoloko noma ke ukubhekwa ke ngokwa semlonyeni noma amazinyo ngoba ke kubhaliwe nala.
You were telling me that it is even written here. This is just G. But I can see clearly. It is written in the Tlhabane Community Health Center Dental Services. Thank you. Now, on what basis do you then say that what you did on the patient, I don't know who the patient was, but the patient that we saw on that day constituted a comprehensive medical assessment and not a comprehensive dental assessment?
I'm going to continue. I think in this case, I'm saying it from my point of view. I was called in to talk about this. If you're going to talk about a comprehensive assessment, you guys should have went straight up to the healthcare center and got the whole file of the patient and then brought it here, and also with the medical examiners that were there and also the nurses that were there, because I'm part of a group. I'm alone. I can't say what the nurse did. I can't say what the doctor did. So in my turn, I'm telling the story that I saw, the story that I did on my own.
Thank you.
So meaning that me dragged into a corner of things that I'm not supposed to know, it's something else.
Lana ngikhuluma ngokwenziwa yimina ke noma lo okuphathelene nowami umsebenzi uma kwakuwukuthi ke kusekufunwa konke ke manje ngabe khanjiwe kwayiwa khona ke emtholampilo lapha yana kwase kuthathwa ifile leyana ke kwalethwa futhi nalabo abasebenza khona lapho kuleyo ngxenye leyo ke iyasemtholampilo nabo ke balethwe la ngingafakwa ke ekhoneni lezinto mina ke engazazi ngoba ke ngiyingxenye yeqembu.
No, nobody is trying to lead you into a snare. You're not being cornered here. It's just what you told the court. I am asking questions based on what you told the court. It is therefore an error to have told the court that what you did to the patient that you saw on that day, who is the subject of this hearing, and the reason why you're here today, it is therefore an error to have told the court that what it did on him was a comprehensive medical assessment. Because, as you say, you don't know what the others did. That's all.
In my response,
Yes. Respond.
I did say everything that I've said. What I'm trying to actually point out is
Yes.
it's on this document.
Yes.
Therefore, that means that I was just basically doing my job. That's what I was supposed to have done. And according to my scope,
Yes.
from where I know,
Yes.
comprehensive medical examination involving a patient as a dentist, it entitles this. That's what my job. I can't go and do what a doctor does if I'm not a doctor. These are the things that are supposed to. The file is saying everything. So I don't get where we are leading to.
Ukuthi ke uhole laphi uyakuphi nendawo angazi ke kodwa mina engikhuluma ngako iloko ebhalwe lana ke ekuyikona ke ukuthi ke ikona okuphelele okugcwele engakwenza mayelana nalomsebenzi mina engikwenzayo angikwazi ke ukuthi ngikhulume noma ngisho okwenziwa udokotela mina engasiyena.
Doc, I'm going to implore you and plead with you to be very patient and be calm. And don't rush, because in South Africa there's no rush. The rush is in Russia where they rush. But what I'm putting it to you is that it is therefore a misnomer, an error to have told this court that what you did on the patient on that day was a comprehensive medical examination in instances where you only dealt with these patients on the question of the teeth. Not so.
Mr. Court, please note the witness has repeatedly answered that question. Is there any point in repeating the same question by counsel?
Thank you, Madam. Let us proceed, sir. Now, what is contained in this form suggests that what you did can be referred to a comprehensive medical assessment. Now, you have said, and I'm not saying this is a comprehensive medical assessment, it's just a hypothetical situation. Now, you have said that when the patient arrived, actually your duties as a dentist, you start to treat the patient from his waist.
Assess. I said assess, not treat. I can't treat
You
a patient.
assess. Yes.
Then let's get it right.
Assess. Yes. Assess. Just come down.
And the dictionary says assess is what you see, not examine. Those are two different types of examinations.
Yes.
They are listed. There is inspection, assess. Assess is what you see.
Thank you for the lecture, sir. I think for the whole day you have given a lecture, but thank you. You said as a dentist, you assess a patient from the waist upwards. And so, thank you. Now, you told the court, as per this form, that you checked his general appraisal. What did you say again? What is a general appraisal?
That's the way the assessment comes in. So that's where
What did you say is general appraisal?
General appraisal is
Yes.
the general look of a patient.
Thank you.
Ebengikusho ke la ukuthi ke uma umbheka ke ubuke nje ubone indlela abukeka ngayo.
You went on to tell the court that you also looked at his TW joints, his lymph nodes, his lips and buccal mucosa, his oropharynx and tonsils, floor of the mouth, the tongue, the gingival and periodontium, angle classification, teeth chart, and ultimately you did the teeth chart. That's all. Thank you. Now, the state says to you, did the patient tell you that he was assaulted? And what was your answer?
The patient never stated any assault. The only image that I was given, it was from the policeman that came in that we are looking for whether the patient had a gold tooth or not. I was assessing for that, and therefore, meaning or when you assess for that, you need to state every question that's here. You need to state what it means and what it might indicate and what are the things when you say it's abnormal and it's normal. So I can't state or it's normal and it's abnormal without stating
Doctor,
what it is.
Doctor, can you please understand the question? The question that I'm posing is the state, or it's my colleague, the prosecutor, says to you, ask you whether the patient told you whether he was assaulted. I'm asking you, what was your answer to this question?
My answer was simple. From me, from my assessment, I didn't see any sign that the patient was assaulted.
Aibo.
Ubuziwe ke ngumshushisi lana ukuthi akutshela yini ke ukuthi noma washo yini kuwe ukuthi washaywa yini, yabe isithini ke impendulo yakho. Mina ke uma ngibuka ngimbheka ngabona ke ukuthi kwakungekho okushoyo noma okuyinkomba ukuthi ke washaywa.
Is that what your answer was when the state asked you that question?
As a please. Is this a memory test? You know, the witness gives evidence in chief. If there's a question that my learned friend needs to ask, can he just maybe ask the witness? How is the witness now supposed to play his mind back, remember each and every question that he was asked and what his answer was? We submit, Mama, that is not fair.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
There is nothing unfair with the question, Manoj. I think just my colleague feels a little bit reckless. Let me remind you, when my colleague, and I'm well within my rights to ask you to repeat the question that my colleague asked you, but this is what you told the court.
Can I say?
Listen, listen. This is not a circus. Listen. I am still speaking. This is not a circus.
Okay.
Yes. When my colleague said to you or asked you this question, whether or not the patient that you saw on that day told you that he was ever assaulted, your answer was, no, he never told me. Is that not what you said?
Isn't it saying from my inspection and from what I was told? Isn't the same thing? Isn't assessment and also the questions
I never the question you said?
Is there okay, let me ask you, is there anything in here from this document that says I should ask a patient if they were assaulted?
You know, I seem to doubt your level of understanding what I'm saying, and basically it will go down to the level of you understanding me as a doctor. You know, I thought at some stage me and you being a doctor would be plus minus be on the same level of understanding each other. But the way in which your trajectory is proceeding, I seem to have a very serious problem. A very serious problem, you see. Thank you. What you told this court as a response to the question that my colleague asked you on whether or not the accused that the patient that you saw on that day told you that he was assaulted, you specifically said, no, he never told me that he was assaulted. That is the answer that is on record. I am therefore basing the following question on that answer.
Okay.
Did you expect him? I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I'm just pausing. Did you expect him to give you that answer when you did not ask him that question?
No.
No.
Lana ke umbuzo uthi ke ubuziwe ngumshushisi ukuthi wambuza yini noma ke wakutshela yini ukuthi lona ke washaywa ke wabe usuthi wena ke cha ingabe ke manje umbuzo olandelayo uthi uma kuukuthi wena ke awukazi umbuzo loyo mbuzo loyo wawulindele ukuthi akutshele yini cha.
Thank you. Did it ever occur in your mind that you should ever ask him whether he was assaulted?
I'm not supposed to ask if a patient is assaulted or not. That's a medical officer's way of doing. I'm supposed to be able to identify if there are any signs and then report them. Those
Thank
are
you.
quite very different things.
Thank you.
Mina ke okwami asikuthi ke kufanele mina ngimbuze ukuthi washaywa yini ke ukhona ke udokotela osebenza ngalokho ongakwenza lokho okwami ukuthi ngibheke nje ukuthi ikhona yini impawu ezikhona ke noma inkomba yini ezikhona ubese uma ukuthi ngiyathola bese ngiyakureport ke lokho.
Thank you. Now, in terms of your assessment, examination of the patient, on the basis of what you've just said now, you assessed him and found that you could not find a possible sign that suggests that he was assaulted, not so?
Exactly my point.
Ngishilo ukuthi akukho engakubona okwakungasho ukuthi washaywa.
Thank you. In your examination of the patient, on the notion that this was a comprehensive medical examination, did you check his eyes? Yes or no?
I go back to the file. I was
Yes.
saying everything that was on the file.
Yes.
Ngibuyela futhi ukuthi ngawabheka amehlo akhe ngibuyela futhi ukuthi file lena ngangisho konke okukhona noma ke okubhaliwe khona la.
Did you check his how do you look? Did you check his ears?
I go back to the file.
Yes.
Wayibheka yini indlebe zakhe ngibuyela futhi ke kuyona ifile.
Did you check his nostrils?
That's a general. I did say, I explained right now, or one of the signs that's there, that when you assess, you check the mouth area and also you check the nose, or whether there is any deformity. I'm not eligible to open the patient's nose and check whether there is something inside or whatsoever. I'm checking the general prison. I didn't speak of that.
Thank you.
Okwami ke bese ngishilo ngaphambili ukuthi ke ngiyawubheka ke umlomo ngiyabheka ke ikhala ayi ukuthi ke ngibheka ngaphakathi ukuthi kunani ngaphakathi kodwa ukubheka nje ukuthi kuloko engikubonayo ngibonani.
Would you dispute it if I were to say to you, had you gone an extra mile, and I know that was not your area of operation, but had you gone an extra mile to check his eyes, or maybe to examine his eyes, if I may put it like that, and probably to examine his ears, there could have been possible signs that would have led you to conclude that something had happened to this gentleman. Would you dispute that?
Examination of the eyes is done by an optometrist.
That I understand.
For the ear, it's
That I
done by an
know.
audiologist.
Thank you.
So if I'm going the extra mile, I will be doing what's not within my scope.
Thank you. That I understand.
Ukhona udokotela wamehlo ukhona udokotela wendlebe uma ke mina ngandlulela kulokho ke ngizoba ngenza
So as a-
engafanele ukuthi ngikwenze.
So as a result, I cannot say I would have been able to confirm
Yes.
or deny those things, because that's not my job.
Angeke ngisho ke ukuthi ke ngangizobona ke ukuthi ngempela khona okwenzeka ngoba akusiwona umsebenzi wami.
It's the same as asking a carpenter to check whether a car has an oil leak or not.
Oh, you're a carpenter this
I
time.
know I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
It's the same as that.
Oh, okay.
Kufana nje ukuthi ke uthi ke carpenter ayibheke ukuthi imoto ingabe ivuza uwoyela yini.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With the carpenter example. Do you then realize that the fact that you told this court that on your examination, you could not detect whether or not the patient that you see on that day was assaulted. That conclusion is based on a very light what do they call it now?
A Kaiser.
A cursory, yes. A cursory examination of what you did on that day.
I was here.
Do you understand the term cursory? It means very, very, very light. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I was not here
Yeah.
to actually confirm
Yes.
or make sure whether the patient was traumatized or whatever. I was here to
Yes.
read the thing that I filled up, the document that I had in my position.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
what I was here for.
Thank you, sir.
Engikuzeleke lana mina ke bekuwukuthi nje ngizofunda ke noma ngisho lokho engakwenza lokho kwenzeka ngale langa.
So basically, that is the information that now you're directing to the state, that you were not called upon here to come and state whether or not that the patient that you saw on that day was assaulted. Is that a message that you now?
Message I'm delivering
Forwarding to the
is
state.
yes, as I took oath,
Thank you.
whenever I'm required
Yeah.
to come and explain what I have done, I'm supposed to come in front of the court or anywhere
Yes.
when I'm required to say what I have done. That's what I'm actually referring to. So that I'm not here to confirm whether the patient has gone through any trauma. I'm supposed to say from what I've seen,
Yes.
my examination, what does it say
Yeah.
to everyone who sees the page? Does it say the patient was traumatized
Yes.
or the patient had any sort of lesions or the patient has any sort of disease?
Yes.
That's basically what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Engikuzeleke lapha mina ke ukuthi nje lokho engakubona ngangibuka kuyena ngase ngakubona mina ke nokuthi ke ngizosho kona ke la.
So you're basically saying you can't tell whether the patient was assaulted or not. The patient that you saw on that day.
You can, at certain instances, at certain severities, whereby it's there through what we are taught to assess and certain conditions. The file, as it was saying, when you go through the clinical examinations, this is the parts of the things that we're saying. Or to a general dentist, if a patient was assaulted, to a certain extent, you can be able to. I did mention that if a patient, yes, they were actually assaulted, they were bruised, they had a blue eye, or maybe they were busy choked, or there was any sort of trauma that happened to them, due to the form, the way in which it is, I could be able to detect or there are bruises where and where, due to the form that I have. Meaning, or yes, a person can go an extra mile because it's even this is what we call in medical term, there is internal damage for an individual. Meaning, or a patient can appear to you right now saying, or they have a head that's bleeding inside a teared vessel, but you can't even tell it because when you can't see it, but there's someone specific who's supposed to go an extra mile and check that. So I was not supposed to go an extra mile. I was supposed to do what's on the file. I did that. I said that. That was my job.
My question.
Mina ke okwami kwangasukuthi ke ngeqa ke ngidlulisele ke kuloko esifanele ngikwenze kodwa ke lokhu okukhona ke okubhaliwe khona lana ke uma ukuthi umuntu uyakutshela ke ukuthi ke lana mina ke ngilimele ekhanda kodwa ke yakubonakala ngilimele ngaphakathi ukhona umuntu owenzayo loyo msebenzi loyo.
So because you are not that person, you therefore can't say, you can't really dispute as a matter of fact that the patient that you saw on that day, prior to you seeing him, he has been pommeled into a morals of bitterness. He was assaulted. You can't dispute that.
Maybe you didn't actually really understand maybe what I have narrated to you. Let me rebrief you again. Understand here. There is a certain extent whereby you can be able to identify such things, but there are some extent that you can't. That's why whenever a patient comes and complains of clinical signs of being, even to a general doctor, they might send them to an RMS scan, send them to an X-ray to do further investigation that they couldn't see with the naked eye. So now from what I've seen, I was told that I'm looking for whether there's a chip tooth that gold came out from, and then I assessed that in general, and then I also checked everything that's there from what I know, from what's within this file. It says, from what this file says in conclusion, it says, from my knowledge due to the file that was created by the state which is allowed to be practiced in Northwest in that tribunal district, I didn't see any signs from what I have seen. That's what I can be able to say. Saying or I can say if I had gone an extra mile, saying or if I had, I can conclude and I can say, I'm saying yes, I can conclude to a certain extent, not further and beyond. Certain things will have needed to be further examined further on. But to my extent, that's what I could see. So that means from what I could see, that's what's there on the file.
Mina ke ngiyabheka ngibuka ke ngisebenza ngalokho engikubonayo ukuthi zikhona ke izimo la khona ke ungathi ungabona ke ezinye ke ungaboni ke umuntu kufanele andluliselwe ke noma umunye udokotela ngeke akubone lokho ngeso lenyama kodwa kuzofanele umuntu adluliselwe ke kuma scan. Mina ke ngenza lokho ke ngokwale form eyakhushwa uhulumeni wakhona ke eNorthwest ngasebenza ngokwendlela iform engiholela ngayo ukuthi ngenze ngakhona.
Sir, did you understand my question?
You also didn't understand my answer, maybe. Your question was, can I conclusively? Can I conclusively?
Sir,
Mr. Mnisi, now we are
did you understand my question?
No, just wait. We are now involved in a debate with the witness. Just put to the witness what your instructions are.
Thank you.
Or what you logically think.
Thank you, madam.
He can't conclude having
Thank
done
you,
what he
madam.
calls a comprehensive assessment.
Thank you, madam.
Otherwise, we'll be here
Yes.
until.
Thank you, madam. Let me spare you the agony, sir. I am putting to you that with the little assessment that you did on the patient on the 22nd of June 2020, you are in no way, you were not actually positioned to come and tell this court emphatically, or as a matter of effect, that the patient that you saw on that day, prior to him coming to you, he was assaulted. Do you have any comment?
No, I don't have any comment.
Thank you.
Mina ke ngithi kuwena ke ngohlolo ke owalenza ke noma ngendlela ke owamxolonga ngayo ke awukho kwisimo ke sokuthi ungaza ke kule nkantolo uzoyitshela ke ngempela ke ukuthi cha akazange ke ashaywe ukuthi cha akukho engakusho.
Thank you, sir. I said, let me spare you the agony. That would have been my last question to you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Omalo.
I think, my lord, I have no questions to the
Mr.
witness.
Chalolo.
My lord, I see it's 25 past now.
Now we've got to finish with this witness today. We must sit until 9 o'clock. So be it, please.
Thank you. Sir, doctor. The document that is in front of you, if you can assist me, what do we call it? The one that we have been testifying about.
It's a comprehensive dental exam. Dental exam that any dentist must be able to do. This is what a comprehensive dental exam is.
Lana ke kusho ukuthi ke noma uphike udokotela ke osebenza ke ngamazinyo ke lona ke ukuhlola ke okuphelele okugcwele kwawo amazinyo.
Okay. Is it a report or it's the recording? What is it?
It's a file whereby you assess, and then from what you have assessed, you write down and then you report. It's even stated here, it says progress report, notes, and treatment that's supposed to be done to the patient.
Ubhaliwe ke nalana ke ukuthi i-report ke noma umbiko ke mayelana nayo ke i-patient.
In other words, you are saying this is a report. Am I correct?
I'm saying it's a dental exam. A dental exam includes findings and report and treatment of what the things that you have seen.
Okay.
It's an examination form.
Ifomu ke lena lana khona ke i-patient ke lana ihlole khona ke ifaka phakathi ke kunombiko nokuthi futhi ke yini ke oyenzile ke kuyona ke i-patient leyo.
Okay. So, according to you, this form, in this form, you will record every examination that you conducted to that particular patient. In this case, we're talking about accused number 2.
This is the guideline that we use, yes, from the standard guideline that we use to record everything that I have seen from the patient or I have noticed abnormal or normal stuff. That's there.
Lana ke ikona ke okungiholayo ke ukuthi yini engiyibonileke kuyona ke i-patient okungendlela noma lokho ekungekho ngendlela noma ngesimo esifanelekile.
You testified in your examination in chief that you examined the upper part of the body of the accused.
I not examine, I said the same thing to him, inspect.
Yeah, whichever, you can give us another terminology, but that's what you did.
Those are two different. Examining means palpating, checking bloods, doing other things. That's a full inspecting. It's what you see. It's what you just have seen.
Okay.
Lana mina ke engakwenza ukuthi nje ngiya ngalokho engikubonile noma engakubona hayi ukuthi ngase ngena ke ngenza umsebenzi ke ngibheke igazi nokunye.
Is it recorded here in your report? Maybe I missed it. Is it recorded in this document that you inspected the patient who was in front of you and this is what you discovered? Is it recorded in this document?
On extraoral examination, it says general appraisal, which involves what you have seen in general. If it's abnormal, I would have ticked abnormal, I ticked normal. Meaning that I check the general appraisal of the patient, the way in which the patient is standing, the way in which the patient looks, and the way in which the patient might appear to have any sort of normal abnormalities from the normal individual human being.
Lana ke kubhaliwe ke ukuthi ke njengoba yila engithika khona ke ukuthi normal noma ke abnormal yiloko engikubonayo mina uma ngimbhekile ke bese ngiyathika ke.
Okay. From your observation on the upper body of the accused, you did not ask him to take out his clothes. Is that correct?
I stated in the recording, as he likes referring, that I never, it's not my job to ask a patient to take off their clothes and then also...
I'm taking a very serious objection, but actually I'm getting a little bit... I don't want to lose my patience, but the gentleman there, he's a doctor, I respect him. He does not have to sound sarcastic when he's answering the question. You don't have to point at me and say, I kept on referring to him, I kept on referring to him. To him, I am not him. Actually, to him, I am myself. I am an advocate of this honorable court. I am going to request the court to respectfully request this witness to answer the question directly and to avoid to sarcastically keep on referring to me. I'm taking
Yes.
a very great offense.
Mr. Mshoro, can you continue, please?
Thank you. Furthermore, in your testimony, you were asked about the injuries, if the accused had injuries on his face. You remember that part of the...
Yes, I do.
Yes. And you said there were no injuries on his face that you noted or you observed.
That I observed.
Yes.
Ngishilo ukuthi kwangekho kulimala kena ke ebusweni engakubona mina.
Okay. How many patients did you examine on this particular day? Or did you see on this particular day?
We were working, 3 of us that day. We have 2 operating areas. We alternate. There will be the first person, 2 people that come
How
in.
many? How many patients?
How many patients?
Did you see?
I can't really recall how many patients I could.
Okay, it's fine.
Angisakhumbula ukuthi mangaka ama-patients engawabona ngaleli langa.
And you did not record in this document that you observed the face of accused number 2 and there were no injuries. Am I
Because
correct?
there is no question in the file that says I should have recorded that. I was recording what I've seen. As he was, sorry for saying that, as it's already been said, that when you look at everything that I've gone through here, is the things that I was supposed to have been done. So meaning already, the general appraiser, if I did notice that there's something, even a significant trauma to the face and whatsoever, I'll probably take up normal and right, or there is a bit of a scar on the left and there is whatsoever. As if I've already indicated when it comes to the other parts of gingival, I have noted already, okay, it's abnormal, then there's supposed to be this.
Okay, doctor,
Because-
don't be long, doctor. You are a doctor by profession, am I correct?
Yes.
The witness is trying to explain now. Counsel is raising her voice and interrupting the witness. We submit that that's badgering the witness. The witness should be allowed to respond to a question.
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. I'm on the injuries. I'm on the evidence, part of the evidence when you said you did not see, you did not record any injuries. And I've asked you how many patients you treated on that particular day. You said you cannot recall. Okay? Then my next question is, how do you recall that the accused did not have any injuries on the face if you cannot be able to recall the number of the patients you treated on that day?
And I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to say this. That side, we barely see any sight of anyone in handcuffs or any sort of prisoner that was there. So on that day, specifically on that day, he was the only prisoner I've ever seen. Meaning that whatever was really happening there, anyone who has experienced one moment in a very long time of something that they never seen before, you can basically do recall. He was not a normal patient.
Okay.
That was the thing.
Can you allow interpretation, doctor?
Wazi kanjani ke uma kuwukuthi awusakhumbuli noma ukuthi bangaki ke ama patient owababona lapha ukuthi yena ke wayengalimele ebusweni, yena ke isona kuphela isiboshwa engasibona ngalelanga, futhi ke kule ndawo esebenzela kuyona nje akusiyona ke into evamile noma ejwayelekile ukuthi nje sihlanganeke noma kuze iziboshwa ukuthi nake manje ke leso sigamo ke sodwa esenzeka ke isona ke esingabangela nje sona nje sisodwa ukuthi ke ukhumbule.
You know, doctor, with due respect, the fact that you did not record that in this document, that you inspected or you observed, whatever the way you did, but you found that there were no injuries from the accused face, that finding or whatever, you should have recorded it here. In the absence of that finding, which is recorded here, it means that we are fabricating the story today. You never observed the accused on that particular day, his face.
The witness has already answered that. We submit that there's no need to repeat the question.
Yes.
Thank you, my lord. It's on record, my lord. Thank you. And secondly, Doctor, whilst I'm still on in the observation of the injuries, are you a district surgeon? District surgeon, or do you work as a district surgeon as well?
We submit that question is improper. The witness has said he's a dentist. That's his area of expertise.
My lord, I know the witness said is a dentist, but I know where I'm going to, my lord, because I'm cross-examining on the observations is in respect of injuries when he is a dentist, my lord.
Yeah, but you just have to put it that because you're a dentist and you're not a general practitioner, you are not able to comment, like Mr. Mnisi was saying. Otherwise,
Yes.
you know what?
Can I rephrase?
Wait. One time, after this trial is long over, when we all have gained experience, you must listen to how this cross-examination is conducted. You must listen to the answers. You'll realize that maybe you should have posed these questions in another way. Here you can see we're just debating with this gentleman. He says this is what he didn't observe. If you put it to him that he's incorrect because he doesn't have the qualification like Mr. Mnisi has done, that takes care of the thing, and then you can come and argue. But now you are denigrating each other. You're not a district surgeon. You're not this, you're not that. It doesn't help me to solve this case, because I'm going to solve this case on the basis of whether the state has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the confessions were made voluntarily or freely, or I'm going to find that maybe the opposite, based on the evidence. But this to and froing about this document, I don't think it helps this court, because the gravamen of the criticism which Mr. Mnisi puts to this witness is basically saying the court should not accept the observations proffered by this witness. Beyond that, whether he served 6 months comprehensive training, how many patients has he seen, it's a difference between an assessment and an examination. It's a debating school. That's what we are under. Because the law is clear. If there's an allegation which has been put by the state, bring evidence and rebut it. Or when you cross-examine this witness, you can put it to him that he's fabricating, as you say, because he doesn't have the expertise to have made that assessment. And then you go forward. Okay.
Thank you, my lord. Can I proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, my lord. Sir, do you know a form that is called a J88? It's a medical report, J88.
Yes.
Do you know it?
Yes.
Ngiyazi ke iform lena ke esetshenziswa ngayo ke ngodokotela ke abayibiza ngokuthi ke i-J88.
Do you know that that is the form that is used by a district surgeon when he is conducting examination to a person?
I do.
Ngiyazi ke nokuthi futhi iform ke esetshenziswa uyena ke udokotela uma ke esebenza ngomuntu.
And in that form, the doctor will record the injuries or the condition of the person that he examined on that particular day. Am I correct?
I do.
Yes.
Ngiyazi ke noma futhi ukuthi ke ubhalani ke kena ke udokotela.
And in this is not a prescribed form that is used to record the injuries observed by the doctor when he's examining a patient. Do you agree with me?
I agree.
Thank you.
Ngiyavuma ke uma usithi akusiyona ke iform lena ke ekuyiyona ke efanele ukuthi yasetshenziswa ke uma kuwukuthi udokotela ke ubheka umuntu noma uhlola umuntu.
And also, let's go to the page number 4, wherein there is a consent form. Consent part at the bottom there. You see that form, that part? Mm-hmm. Were you present when this document was, this portion was completed?
The handwriting on the date, it was mine. So yes, I was present in the patient side.
Okay.
Ngathi ke i-patient sign lapha yebo ngangikhona ngoba ke la ekubhale khona i-date mina owabhalayo i-date.
When the signature affixed there was appended, were you present?
Yes, I was.
Ngangikhona uma e-signed.
Who signed there?
The patient signed for this.
I-patient
As far
ke
as I'm concerned.
ukwazi kwami ke iyona eya-signed lapha yana.
On the first page, where it says patient signatures information, who signed there?
Also is the patient.
Nala ku-page yokuqala ke nalapho uyena owa-signed.
Were you present?
Yes, I was.
Yebo,
That's my
ngangikhona.
handwriting on the date.
Ngangikhona nalapho kubhale khona i-date mina wayibhala.
Did you explain specifically to the accused what is it that he was signing here?
Fully, we're supposed to do that. That's part of the job.
Okay.
Ngokuphelele futhi ngamchazela ke ukuthi uma e-signed usayindelani ngoba yingxenye yomsebenzi leyo.
In what language did you explain it?
I used English.
Ngangisebenzisa ke i-English noma ke ulimi engangilisebenzisa kwakuyi-English.
Did you ask the accused if he understood English?
At the beginning, when we were busy assessing the patient, I asked, there was, as I already stated, when I was speaking here that there was an assistant, because my Zulu is not proper, that was helping with the Zulu. I used to ask the questions in English, and then there was an interpreter of an assistant that explained these things to the patient.
Ngabe wambuza yini umangalela ukuthi ke isingisi uyasizwa yini? Bengishilo ke ngaphambilini uma ngikhuluma lana ukuthi ke isiZulu sami ke asikho kahle, kodwa ke lona engangisebenza naye engilekelela ke uyena ke owayengisiza ke ngokuthi ke ahumusheke ngesiZulu.
But when this consent part was completed, the interpreter was no longer there. You yourself who interpreted.
No, they were there. It's an assistant. The assistant remained there throughout. They don't leave. I leave before them. They have to supposed to give patients instructions of whether if it's something that's supposed to do and whatsoever, and also dismissing the patient. Then
Thank
I
you,
move
my
to
lord.
the
I've got no further
Okusho
questions.
ukuthi ke nkathi ke le ngxenye ke yona ke ihunishwa noma ke isayindwa ke wayesephumileke lo wayetolika cha abahambi baba lapha yana isikhathi sonke imina engihamba kuqala kunabo ngoba bona bafanele bachazeleke ama patient okunye okufanele bakwazi.
Any re-examination?
No, thank you, my lord.
Okay. Thanks, doctor, for your assistance. There's one thing I want to put a joke to you. When they asked you a question, you said you're checking and assessing the patient as he's with you when you're filling the form. For my myth, and then you were asked, you said a man can't get pregnant. You remember saying that?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
It just caught my ears because I've heard women say, I've got a body trapped in a man's body. Have you heard that? One day you'll appreciate the joke. Okay, can you adjourn? What's happening on Monday?
As a court, please, my lord, I thought we can wrap things up today from the state point of view, my lord. Just a few aspects.
Oh, so you must go to Monday still.
Well, as I indicated, my lord, I've got another party head. I'm not here for the whole of next week, my lord.
So you wanted to wrap something?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear you.
My lord, just three things. Firstly, yesterday there was an issue of the visitors book.
Yes.
Visitors register at Pretoria Moot. The feedback that I've received is that this was just an informal register. They can't trace it. However, they're still looking. So at this point, my lord, they cannot trace it.
Okay.
Then, secondly, there's the issue of the transcripts from Boksburg Magistrate Court.
Yeah.
We just want to hand up the transcripts. We've marked them Exhibit EE. The charge sheet from Boksburg Magistrate Court is Exhibit E. So the
Exhibit EE.
Yes, EE.
Yeah.
So the transcript of the 27th of October 2020 from Boksburg Magistrate Court is marked Exhibit EE in brackets 1. Then the transcript of the proceedings of the 27th of November 2020 from Boksburg Magistrate Court is marked Exhibit EE in brackets 2.
Okay.
Then the proceedings of the 5th of March 2021 from Boksburg Magistrate Court is marked Exhibit EE in brackets 3.
Okay.
Yes. We have accordingly updated the list of exhibits
Yes, sir.
wherein we are incorporating
The three documents.
the transcripts. Yes. And then lastly, my lord, there is a letter which we have marked Exhibit YY in brackets 1. This is a letter, my lord, from the Legal Practice Council in Gauteng. I've given this letter to my colleagues.
Colleagues have it.
Yes, last year already.
Okay.
Yes. we submit that that letter it's admissible, it's relevant. If we need to argue this point, we'll do so, my lord, at a later stage.
Okay.
But we beg that it be received as Exhibit YY in brackets 1.
Okay.
I'll place the contents on record. It's dated the 31st of October 2023, and it's written by a senior legal officer, professional affairs from the Legal Practice Council, and it reads as follows. I hereby confirm that according to the records held by the Legal Practice Council, Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mjiako was admitted as an attorney by the North Gauteng Provincial Division of the High Court of South Africa on 26 March 2012 and was granted permission by the Legal Practice Council on 6 July 2021 to convert his enrollment as an attorney to that of an advocate practicing without a trust account. Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mjiako is recorded as an advocate practicing without a trust account, and his legal practitioner number is recorded as 31584.
Okay.
Le ncwadi ke efundwa la umshushisi-ke incwadi ephuma-ke kwisigungu-ke esiphethe-ke abameli i-date yakhona i-31 October 2023 futhi-ke ibhaliwe-ke uthi-ke ngiyaqinisekisa-ke ukuthi-ke Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mjiako ngempela-ke ukuhla-ke babameli abavunywa-ke inkantolo noma-ke i-North Gauteng Provincial High Court ngeyi-26 kaMarch ngonyaka ka-2012 wasenikezwa futhi-ke imvume iyona-ke i-LPC ngeyi-6 zikaJulayi 2021 ukuthi-ke angabisaba-ke ummeli noma-ke i-lawyer, kodwa-ke manje abese ekhushulelwa-ke ekuthini abe i-advocate. Futhi-ke u-Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mjiako futhi-ke ukhona-ke kuhla lama-advocate futhi-ke upractice noma-ke usebenza ngaphandle-ke kwayo i-trust account, kanye-ke futhi nenamba yakhe yokuthi abe ummeli ibhaliwe khona laphayana, yabhalwa-ke yilowo oyi-senior legal officer.
Okay. Thanks. Mr. Gomezulu and the other councils, are you going to dispute the information in this letter by the LPC?
My Lord, there is no dispute in relation to, it has been put it clear that the defense does not dispute the status of
Okay, fine, no problem.
Mr. Mjiako.
Okay.
Yes. It's
Mr.
only concerned about the relationship between accused number 2 and Mr. Mjiako.
No, you're now going to other things.
Yes.
Me, I'm just asking this letter, are you disputing the veracity of what is stated there? That's all. Mr. Nisi?
I plead no contest. In other words, I don't dispute it.
Okay.
Not contested, thank you.
Yes, Ms.
No, my lord.
Okay.
Then, lastly, my lord, we've handed various occurrence books and registers from various police stations, Exhibit MM, NN, NN1, NN2, PP, QQ, SS, UU, 1 and 2. The originals are here, they are available, my lord. The court orderly has just gone to collect them.
Okay.
If it's, we can keep them in our custody and bring them to court every time.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, should they be needed.
Yeah, please.
Futhi-ke ney'ncwadi-ke ezahlukeneke zama-police station ahlukene zikhona-ke lana zizogcinwa-ke umbuso uma ukuthi ziyadingeka-ke zizolethwa khona enkantolo.
Then the state closes its case, my lord, when the trial is in trial.
Okay.
Umbuso uthi-ke lona ufakazi oqeda ukuphuma lana-ke bekuwufakazi wabo wokugcina-ke kulolu daba-ke oluvelile-ke kulona icala leli.
Okay, so we'll sit on Monday when the defense will decide what to do. Mr. Ngomezo.
As a court basis, my lord,
Mr. Mjiako.
my colleague will stand in for me for.
Oh, yes, Mr. Banda. Okay, thanks. Mr. General.
So, Welcome, 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 Welcome,